With the Rings of Power Season 2 finale merely a few hours away, I have some insight on what I would like to have happen, and if you're interested in gathering that, let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here back with you. Variants cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, the Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2 finale. And look, Season 2 has been an exceptional step up in terms of quality in only so many regards for this series. Because look, overall, Season 1 kind of left a lot to be desired. Season 2 leaving very minimal to be desired. They hit on a lot of the key points that people had complaints about. People wanted more detailing in the armor. Done. They wanted a more intricate story that actually made sense. Done. They wanted more practical effects that actually looked the part rather than more CGI. Done. Overall, season 2, regardless of how you feel about book versus show and Tolkien versus the writers of today, Season 2 is a significant step in the right direction for the Rings of Power. And I know a lot of people are like, it's still not Tolkien. Are you really going to hope that a modern author is just going to appear out of nowhere and be able to pen a show for television, that's going to hit the same exact thing that Tolkien hit upon while not having the legal rights to the books? Hoping for quite a bit there, and it's kind of a tight bind you put yourself in. I would kind of open up your mindset and kind of realize you're asking for the impossible. But again, hey, nothing's ever impossible in Tolkien's world, so believe as you will. But look, season 2 has been significantly better, but how they're going to try and end it on the best note possible so that fans ultimately don't have too much to be concerned about is exactly what I want to address today. Because look, we have a lot, and I mean a lot of loose ends right now going into season 2, which leads me to believe that season 3 is basically going to be a slam dunk. I know Amazon said 5 seasons, but again, the viewership numbers from season 1 weren't ideal. Season 2 has progressed and moved up the numbers rather well, but at the same time, is it exactly what Amazon was hoping for to at least recoup some of their budget? That remains to be seen, and that is a big if. As we've seen with other companies like Disney, if the money's not remade, the show gets canceled. Sometimes the audience is absolutely right, and other times you'll see shows like Firefly where they had an amazing first season, tons of people loved it, the numbers were good, and still somehow gets canceled. But, that's another conversation for another day. As we've been moving on with the Rings of Power in Season 2, we have a lot of intricate storylines, whether it be involving Rune, whether it be Eregion, whether it be Khazad-dûm, or whether it be Numenor. We've had a lot of interesting pieces move around overall. And right now, I want to say the best story that we've seen so far involving Season 2, and again, if you're not caught up, there'll be some spoilers in this recap. Season 2 with Khazad-dûm, we've seen a lot of great stuff involving the dwarves. Durin and his wife Disa have been absolutely carrying the storyline involving there. They have had a significant amount of great lines, great dialogue, a lot of human-like elements, and true showing of compassion for their characters. And they've been really able to show just how much they are woven into this story. He was a highlight of season 1, and season 2 Durin is doing the exact same thing. His speech about rallying the dwarves to go and save the elves, someone that they've had, I'm going to say a bit of a tense relationship with, has really gone to show that he can make just about anything happen when he puts his mind to it. His father's greed goes exactly into what happens with the dwarves and is really showing that the dwarven rings, while not wholly successful in the ability to corrupt, has been able to enhance their most, innate senses of, hey, dwarves love jewels, they're going to keep wanting us. It just kind of is what it is. In truth be told, most of the rings were never recaptured because most of the dwarf lords either got eaten by dragons or just went missing overall, and Sauron eventually got them back, but again, not really as much as he would have hoped to recoup in his initial investment in hoping to start swaying the entire peoples of Middle Earth. Going along there, we still have a lot of going on with what's involved with Rune. And Rune, personally, I don't think needs to get handled this episode. I know we still need to figure out who the Dark Wizard is, who the regular wizard is, and what the heck we're going to be doing with our Hobbit Harfoot group. I don't know what to do with them at all right now. we can go ahead and leave them as a cliffhanger at the end of the episode where the two wizards meet up and they kind of have like this foreshadowing deep line dialogue where it kind of like, hey, I know you from this, or they have some kind of sudden realization at the end of the episode. That would be something that could be interesting or unique to cover overall. As far as evolving the dwarves, I think that they need to go ahead and handle what's going on with Durin and the Balrog, because right now the Balrog's been teased. We've seen the shadow of the wings, and we're at Chekhov's gunpoint. We know that we've seen the weapon in Act 1. Now, by the end, we need to see it go off. We need to see the Balrog kind of go ahead and insert itself in Khazad-dûm as kind of a key player that's going to be making itself rather prominent throughout this series. It doesn't have to just absolutely wreck shop on Khazad-dûm, but it needs to make enough of a presence that the dwarves are fully aware of it and need to start making preparations in order to stop it or Durin's father from causing bigger problems going on over there. As well, involving Numenor, let's just leave it where it is. I understand it's been a highlight of the series right now, and things have been really cooking over there. Muriel asserting herself as the true Queen of the Faithful. We have everything involving Alfarazon putting everyone on trial to ensure that he can kind of insert himself as the true ruler of Numenor, and ultimately showing that he's going to do just about anything it takes to get power, even going so far as to use the Palantir and try and gain some kind of wisdom or foresight, but he only gets these cracked images as opposed to where Muriel and everyone else who's used that Palantir has been able to have full-on visions of what is truly going on and having foresight, because Muriel saw the destruction of Numenor. Elendil was able to see the rising of a peaceful empire, basically the rise of Gondor through his line. Now, Farazan touches it, and all he sees is Sauron. So he kind of probably realizing, hey, Sauron was on our island. What the heck was that all about? Why am I seeing Halbrand all over again? This kind of needs some answers. So leaving him with that shot of the Palantir is a perfect place to go ahead and leave Numenor, so that season 3 we can kind of focus on how Alfarazon and Sauron are going to have their ultimate team up, because the overall, issues that continue to go on in Numenor for a little bit of time. What we really need to pick up on and really push on is what's going on with Eregion. We have Elrond, we have Sauron, we have Gil-galad, and we have Adar. We have 4 prominent members we've been building up for a long, long time. And look, when we finally have our Sauron versus Adar versus Galadriel showdown, because look, those 3 have been destined to face off in a triple threat match for a long time now. So let's, someone call the Undertaker, let's have a table, ladders, and chairs match, and let's just see who's going to be ultimately left standing by the end of it. As long as we don't have some kind of romance element involving Galadriel and Sauron and Adar, where they're both feigning interest in her and trying to woo her and make this some kind of weird romance thing, because we already had a weird romance moment last episode that I'll talk about when season 2's finally finished. But again, we just need to see them have some sort of culmination where ultimately, as we all know, Sauron and Galadriel are not in any real danger of anything terrible happening to either one of them. They're completely safe. Adar, on the other hand, is not a book character, created originally only for the show. So for him to say he is safe is definitely not going to be it. I think in the end, Sauron and Galadriel will end up turning and taking out Adar, which will in turn give Adar, his army right on over to Sauron, because we saw that the orc that has been following him, that had a family that everyone was so peeved about, kind of hesitated when it was time to go run into battle. So it looks like the wheels are already starting to turn in his mind that, hey, maybe no one really has our best interest at heart, and they're going to go ahead and try and pick some new leader, which again, having Sauron being showing up on his doorstep at that exact moment isn't exactly what I would call the ideal timing, because you're going to end up with the worst master you could possibly end up having. And well, we kind of see how that series of events unfolds, where Sauron changes their culture, their mindset, and everything else about them to kind of fold directly into more of a thrall-like relationship than more of a mutual beneficial coexistence that Adar has with them, where he calls them children, and they're able to kind of have their own culture and sort of prosper in their own way. It's not humanizing to have culture. It's just basic human needs. Tolkien talked about it at length, where he was struggling to kind of humanize them for a long, long time. If you think you know better than him, by all means, the comment section is where to head and leave your thoughts. The letdown. The Barrow Wights lived up to their nature of being absolutely terrifying early on in the season. I'm hoping the Balrog continues to make his presence shown, and Rings of Power Season 2 finishes strongly, leaving us with cliffhangers involving the two wizards and some sort of cliffhanger involving what Sauron will get up to next once he's done with Eregion. I've been Brent for Geek Variants. If you love this video, be sure to hit that little red subscribe button. If you hated anything I said, hey, the comment section's where you will be. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys later on for the live stream of Rings of Power Season 2 finale.